Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I will ask for staff to call the roll.
Senator Locke. Senator Deeds.
Here.
Senator McDougal.
Here.
Senator Lucas.
Here.
You have quorum.
Thank you. Today we have an extensive docket with tax bills along with gaming bills already heard in general laws. I will take bills up in a topical orders to assist the subcommittee's work. First, I want to start with the gaming bills. Is that okay? Okay. I will ask staff to summarize the bills and then patrons may provide any additional information. Let's start first with the casino bills, and I want to start with Senate Bill 628, Senator Aird.
Okay. Madam Chair, Senate Bill 628, Senator Aird, is related to the eligible cities to host casino gaming. The bill would amend the list of cities eligible to host a casino by removing Richmond and adding Petersburg.
Madam Chair,
Senator Aird, would you like to add more to that?
I'm not going to talk past the sale.
I hear you.
Madam Chairman.
Senator McDougal?
Madam Chairman, I know we also have another bill on the calendar that kind of dovetails into this one, and that's 345, Senator Reeves. And I would guess that the committee, if they pass this bill, probably we don't need 345. And so I would wonder if Senator Reeves might want to be rolled into this one.
Is that a motion?
If Senator Reeves would like it, then I'll make it a motion.
Madam Chairman, members of the committee, that'd be great. That'd be fantastic.
Okay. I'd like to first hear from staff to see if they're compatible, if it's compatible to incorporate those two.
Madam Chair, yes.
Then I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the bills will be incorporated, and that is Senate Bill 628 with Senate Bill 345. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Sounds like we incorporated. Senator Eric?
I thank the committee.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor of that motion, please designate it electronically.
We can't vote. We have to say aye.
We can't vote because we got some problems here, so we need to all say aye. Aye. Have a good afternoon. You in another block. The next bill is Senate Bill 541, and that is Senator Bagby.
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 541 relates to casino gaming and also the eligible host city. It removes the city of Richmond as an eligible host locality for casino gaming.
Senator Bagby, do you like that?
Madam Chair, that's what it does.
That's what it does? You don't want to add anything to it?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you want to go while you're still ahead. Okay.
Report.
It has been moved, properly second, that the bill be reported. And since we don't have electronic, everybody say aye? Aye. Aye. Your bill has been reported.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Next bill, Senate Bill 675, Senator Marsden.
Madam Chair, this also relates to casino gaming. Senate Bill 675, Senator Marsden. It adds Fairfax County and Petersburg to the list of host localities eligible to host a casino while removing Richmond City. And it also sets out the site parameters and requirements for the Fairfax Casino.
Senator Marsden, would you like to add more to that explanation?
Madam Chair, that is the bill, but the potential benefits to the Commonwealth of Virginia and the county of Fairfax are just enormous here. That and would help with school construction funding and local needs that, as you know, Madam Chair, because of the pandemic, which really hit us hard, Fairfax County is losing a lot of commercial real estate income, and the decline in metro ridership has added greatly to the burden there, and this will help with that. It will help with the state, and I think it's time to send this to the local government for them to make their own analytics, make their own decisions about this, the pros, the cons, and decide whether they want to have a referendum to the citizens. So there's plenty of local control here. My job in a Dillon Rule state is to give my county options to deal with some revenue problems that may be coming up in the present as well as the future. And so that's what the bill does, Madam Chair.
You all have heard from staff and you've heard from the patron. Or any response from members of the committee?
Just, Madam Chair, before we allowed one for allowed Petersburg, we went through a JLARC process to add to the original list. I wonder if there's ever been any JLARC study or there's anything out there to suggest how much we could benefit from.
Madam Chair, if I might,
Senator Marsden.
the original revenue shortfall was early on when MGM was operating over in Prince George's County in Maryland. And currently, 30% of their revenue is coming from the county, was coming from Virginia. And it's $150 million we're losing every year to Prince George's County. The revenue that has been projected in the 70-30 split, which I believe is how that takes place, Madam Chair, is that for Fairfax County, $94 million, for the Commonwealth of Virginia, I think over $300 million. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong there, but this project also includes a conference center, a hotel, and with the attraction of the casino, it'll be added traffic at Dulles Airport that will hopefully reduce enplanement costs, be more competitive with BWI and Reagan, which are outside of Reagan is in outside of Fairfax County. BWI is in the Baltimore area. We either compete or die. And you know, the gauntlet has been laid down. You know, Maryland has a number of these these facilities, and all this is giving local government in Fairfax County the option, you know, to look at this. But the benefits to the state and the county are enormous.
Senator Marsden, you know they call me the casino queen, but I have other members of this body who have other opinions. So I have in queue Senator McDougal, then Senator Locke. Senator McDougal? Accidental. Senator Locke? I wasn't accidental. She wasn't accidental. Senator Locke?
Madam Chair, and to Senator Marston, has the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors weighed in on this at all?
I have been in contact with them occasionally since the beginning of this process. And in their recent meeting, they've sent a letter forward expressing their concerns about the process, but did not take a position against this bill. This, you know, returns it for their decision-making process, and I think that speaks volumes. The fact that they did not step forward and oppose the legislation. You know, they were concerned about, you know, the process, but at this point in time, I think that, as you know, Senator Locke, having been in local government, this is a very contentious issue, but it's one that needs to be made in the county of Fairfax, and I think you know, we need them to give them the opportunity to do this because I think it's in everyone's benefit.
Senator Marsden, I see that there are members from the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors here, and we already heard some testimony, but I will entertain some brief testimony from you this afternoon. There are folks behind you.
Madam Chairman, I'm actually Claudia Arco. I'm Fairfax County Legislative Staff, but I just wanted to let you know that you all have letters from the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors Chairman sort of outlining the discussion that the board had. So I just wanted to make sure that you saw that.
And Madam Chair, I'm Walter Alcorn. I represent the Hunter Mill District on the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors. My district has about 1/3 of the land area that would be authorized for this casino, and I am a strong no. And I'd be happy to put in the record my letter expressing my concerns and also a map showing my district and also which areas would be authorized under this legislation.
I'm sorry, mic was off. Thank you for your presentation. Would there be others who would like to speak in favor or in opposition to the bill? Come forward and give your name, please.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Linda Colbert. I'm the mayor of the town of Vienna. And I will say the town of Vienna is strongly opposed to any casino, even the proposal of a casino in Tysons. We feel like we have been a part of the Tysons plan the comp plan, the strategic plan for many, many, many years, going back to the mayor before me, the mayor before that. And in no way was a casino ever mentioned, ever part of that plan. Vienna residents are just really, really strongly against this. I have not heard from one resident actually that is for it. Would you, I can list many reasons if you'd like. I
Thank
don't know
you
how
for-
long I have to speak.
Thank you for your presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Are there others in the audience who would like to speak on this bill? Please come forward.
Thank you for giving me the chance to speak. I'm Naila Alam, council member for the town of Herndon. And we are also opposing the coming of the casino there. And I just wanted to share this with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Marsden?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would also just add, if I could, that this has the heavy support of labor in Northern Virginia because of the, I've heard estimates from 32 to 4,200 jobs and memorandums of understanding to provide not only jobs in the construction part of this, but also in the operations. This is good for Northern Virginia.
Senator Marsden, there's someone over your right shoulder. Ma'am, come forward.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the subcommittee. My name is Virginia Diamond. I'm the president of the Northern Virginia Labor Federation, AFL-CIO. We strongly support this bill for the great jobs that it's going to create for members of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Marsden, want to wrap it up? Unless there are other questions or statements by members of the committee?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We've lost 10 points on our LCI score in Fairfax County. What that means is, in a county that has 1 out of every 7 students in the Commonwealth of Virginia, when we take 10% more from the state pie that's been created after dealing with all the local composite index decisions and calculations, that's significant. I don't want us to become more of a taker. I want us to be more of a giver to the rest of the state. And we need, because of the pandemic, it smacked us in the mouth. On Metro, on commercial real estate, we need to rebuild, retool, rethink, compete, and make sure that that Fairfax remains a vibrant part of the state's economy and can help the rest of the Commonwealth of Virginia move forward and fund the things that are so important to us: public safety, schools, you name it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Marsden. I want to ask Senator Locke a question because I really would like to see us keep this bill alive. Senator Locke, you asked a question about a study. Did you say something about a study?
I asked about whether Jay Lark was taking a look at this.
Okay, Senator Creed, you asked a question.
My only concern was that the one time we had an expansion idea proposed before, beyond the original 5, was with Petersburg, and we required JLARC to take a look at it and basically compare Petersburg to Richmond, and they came back and said we could do both, but it was clear that we would do better if we only had one. But that was back when there was a previous senator who represented that area when we had that bill. Before we allowed the second referenda, I think that's what we required.
Madam Chair, Senator Deeds, I believe that the JLARC study, though, did examine Fairfax County and talk about the revenue potential at that point in time based on numbers. From my understanding is based on numbers that MGM was producing. Those numbers have gone way up. That's the second most, or the most successful, profitable casino outside of Las Vegas. But JLARC had run some numbers on it, but I don't think it was part of that I remember of determining whether it would be one of the sites. But they did.
Madam Chair, I guess I would ask April, is there a JLARC report out there that has any in-depth analysis of a Fairfax site?
Tyler?
Madam Chair, Senator Deeds, I believe in 2019, JLARC did study the 5 casinos proposed at the time in the bill, as well as the Northern Virginia casino as an option, but that's...
I was going to say, Madam Chair, Senator Deeds, I think, though, we would be happy as a subcommittee to take a further look if you wanted updated projections and discuss it with JLARC.
I would like to have some updated projections because I want to try to keep this bill alive. But Senator McDougal, I see you have something in queue.
Madam Chairman, that's what I was going to suggest, that this subcommittee might be a good vehicle to look at it if you wanted to look at it.
I do.
Madam Chairman.
Senator McDougal?
Madam Chairman, then if we want to still look at it, I think the best way to do that would be to carry it over for the year for the committee to keep it in its breast, to continue to have the conversations, and we can look at the data from JLOC, and then, Madam Chairman, you would be able to bring it back up at some point.
Senator Deeds?
I'll second that.
Okay. Senator Morrison, there's a motion and a second that the bill be carried over. And so this is going to be a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Marsden. Next bill is Senator Reeves, and that's Senate Bill 345, and I want staff. Okay,
We rolled that one. Sorry.
I know, I got discombobulated because of this last bill. I'm sorry. So now we're gonna go to Senator Bagby, and that's Senate Bill 540. And I want staff to. Oh, Senator Bagby.
There he is.
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 540 relates to illegal gambling exceptions. It would exempt from illegal gambling the placement, operation, or communication to and from equipment in the Commonwealth associated with the hosting of lottery games authorized by another state and regulated by the other state for the exclusive benefit of the state. The wagering is legally authorized in the other state, and the wagers are required by the other state to be physically located within that state's geographic bounds when placed.
Senator Bagby, would you like to add to that presentation?
No,
Or
Madam
that
Chair,
explanation?
Madam Chair, it was explained with great detail. And Madam Chair, if there is a amendment that you wish to put on here at a later time, that works for me as well.
Well,
I think staff may have an amendment they want to put on it.
well, if the patron wants an amendment put on the bill, we don't have one now.
We don't have it now, but if you all wanted to go back for the day,
Okay, that,
put the amendment on it, and then next time you all meet, you don't need me, right?
not if we like the amendment.
If we don't like the amendment, it might
Well,
go
it's going
back
to be
for-
you all putting an amendment on it, so I hope you like it.
Well, if we don't like the amendment, the bill might go back for the year. So you might want to show up.
Okay, well, let's not have to go
We-
back
we-
for the day. Let's go and vote today.
I have your phone number, I'll call you.
Yes, ma'am.
So can I get a motion to have the
Pass the
bill
bill
then?
back for the day.
There's a motion?
That's my motion.
Senator Locke, you second that motion? You're not sure?
Second.
Senator McDougal seconds the motion. Senator Locke, not sure. Okay, so you've had a motion and a second that the bill will be carried over for the day. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We'll see you in another day.
Thank you, Madam Chair,
You're welcome.
and members of the committee.
You don't like us or something?
Senator Reeves, can you come back? Senator Reeves, will somebody look outside and see if he's outside the door? Tell him 344 is up or either it's gone for the, okay, we were just about to dispense with your bill. You're up with Senate Bill 344,
Yes, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you.
and we
Madam
want
Chair.
staff to give us a
Yes.
overview.
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 344 relates to charitable gaming. It amends the charitable gaming law to allow as a condition of receiving a charitable gaming permit that certain organizations may use a predetermined percentage of its receipts for expenses related to the rental of real property. And it also requires qualified organizations and electronic gaming manufacturers to pay 1/4% of its gross receipts, and those receipts to be deposited to the Problem Gambling Treatment Support Fund.
Senator Reeves, you heard a presentation by staff? That was accurate. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, ma'am, there's a couple things we're on.
You a couple of things you're on. What you on?
Well, I'm just trying to,
I'm sorry.
We're 344, right?
I've had
ma'am?
too much coffee. Go ahead.
I thought this was the one we were gonna have go by, just so we,
Madam Chairman, I'm gonna make that motion. I think I'm gonna help out a little bit.
Okay, help him out.
I think Senator Reeves believes that there's something that will limit this in its physical impact, and if we could take it by till Tuesday, he can get with
I can cut out
Tyler
the
and
stuff that
work that
costs
out.
money and leave the stuff in that has to happen.
You're gonna cut out all the stuff that people don't like. That's what you're saying, right?
That's pretty much it, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can I get a second to that motion? There's been a motion and a second that the bill will be carried over for the week. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So all in favor of that motion, please say aye. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Senator Rouse, Senate Bill 12, we'll have staff make a presentation. 212.
Yes, ma'am.
The staff is going to make a presentation.
Madam Chair, 212 relates to the Virginia Small Business Economic Development Act. It allows the offering of skill, or removes playing or offering of any skill game from the definition of illegal gaming. It establishes the regulation and operation of skill games at ABC, and it imposes a tax rate of 15% on the gross revenue of skilled machines.
Madam.
Senator Bagby.
Whoa.
No, Bagby just left.
Yes.
I don't wear glasses, and I don't know why I said that. Please forgive
That's
me. I
all right.
apologize from now to Christmas.
All right. I think I'm much more handsome than Senator Bagby.
I am sorry.
Bagby wouldn't discuss, wouldn't,
Senator Rouse, please forgive me.
you couldn't mistake
Thank you, Madam
Bagby as
Chair.
a defensive back.
No.
Yes, that's right. He's more of an
No,
offensive
you gotta
tackle.
accept my
I'm more of
apology
a-
first. Gotta accept my apology
Yes,
first.
he's
All
more
right.
of a Suburban. I'm more of a Ferrari. I'm gonna answer for that later.
Senator Rouse. We
Madam
aren't
Chair,
always like this.
Yes.
But Senator Rouse, I'm
Madam
sorry.
Chair, may that bill go by for today, and hopefully Tuesday we'll be able to work out some more things.
It is moved and probably seconded that Senate Bill 212, offered by none other than Senator Aaron Rouse.
That's right.
Be carried over.
Thank you.
All
ma'am.
in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam
Senator
Chair.
Rouse, we'll see you next week. Now, Senate Bill 124. And I'm not going to call you Senator Stanley.
Yikes.
No, he's not even
I mean,
in the
you're
room.
my guy, but you're my
Oh,
guy.
he
but
is back there. Oh my God. I apologize.
It's all good. It's
Senator
all-
Van Valkenburg. We're going to hear from staff.
Yep.
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 124 relates to sports betting. It permits betting on Virginia college sports except for proposition betting. Currently, betting on Virginia sports is illegal.
Nothing to add to that?
I'm good with that. Unless you want me to talk more.
Well, I just want to see if the committee has any questions or comments. Senator McDougal?
Madam Chairman, I guess one of the concerns that people will bring up is, could this possibly put undue pressure on college athletes? And I think it's not, that's really the question, so.
Yeah. So,
Because I think everything else is legal to bet on except Virginia college sports.
Madam Chair, members of the committee.
Yes, Senator Van Valkenburg.
When we passed this policy back in 2020, we carved out Virginia sports. I think a lot of it was for that reason. But what I'd note is that since 2020, we've only had more and more states legalize sports gambling, including all the ones that surround us that can all vote on Virginia universities. So that there already really, in practice, is that pressure there. This would allow us to bring it into the fold so it's regulated. We know what's happening. We know who's betting. It would allow us to have an eye over it. The secondary benefit is we would be able to tax it, but I think this would be better for enforcement, for regulation, and I think, to address that, I would also add that I think Virginia folks are already gambling on sports. They're doing it illegally. They're doing it through friends in other states. They're going to other states themselves, and so I think this is I think this is good for. I actually think this is good for public safety. I think it's the right thing to do for tracking this stuff. And, the secondary benefit is it does help us tax it and benefit from it financially as well.
Senator Deeds.
Madam Chair, I'm worried, I think college sports in general has been ruined to some extent by the transfer portal, by name, image likeness, by just the carousel it's become, and I share McDougal's concern about the pressure that would be placed on these young athletes.
Yeah, Madam Chair, Senator Deeds, I get it. I mean, I agree that the college sports world has gone kind of crazy, especially with the NIL stuff. But I think that's another point to this bill, which is that these students are being paid millions of dollars in some cases now through these contracts. And so I think the idea that that this is going to add pressure to them, I just think doesn't exist, because they already have the NIL. They already have people betting on them across the country. They already have Virginians betting on them. And so, I mean, I get it. I agree. I think college sports are in a bad place. But I actually think that this helps us in that way for the reasons I've already laid out.
Motion? Is there a motion on?
Well, Madam Chair, I can't vote to support the bill. I would make a motion to carry the bill over for the year.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be carried over. All in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye.
All right, thank you.
Carry it over. Now we have Senate Bill 689. And, could somebody ask Senator Craig to come back into the room?
She's not here. I make a motion to PBI the bill.
There was a motion to PBI your bill, so do you want us to just let the staff present it and you add comments so we're gonna have another consideration?
Which
Staff?
one, the Louise Lucas cruise ship?
Louise Lucas cruise ship. Oh, I do like gambling ships. I do. Okay.
Okay.
Staff?
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 689 relates to cruise ship gaming in the offshore waters of the Commonwealth. It authorizes lottery to issue a permit for cruise ships to conduct casino gaming in the offshore waters of the Commonwealth, and it requires certain requirements of those cruise ships and an annual permit fee.
So it's going to bring money to the Commonwealth.
I understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to add more to it?
Well, yes, I would. So we're just trying to throw out a welcome mat for our cruise ships. We've got a lot of cruise ships that come into the Port of Norfolk, and we're very excited that they're going to be, Carnival's going to be signed a 3-year contract, so they're going to be coming in into Norfolk, bringing in some money to our community. And this is just saying that you can start the casino opening 1 mile out. You have to have at least one foreign port, and it's 50,000 tons or more and over 2,000 passengers. And we're going to be bringing some more money into the Commonwealth. And all the bills are getting referred to finance, so I figured you might need some more money.
I could use the money, and I do like gambling. Not going to deny that. Can I hear some comments from the committee?
Madam Chair, I'd just like to ask a question.
Senator Deeds.
This casino gaming or cruise ship gaming would not be subject to the adjusted gross receipts tax that's imposed currently on casinos, would it?
I would yield to staff.
We'll refer to staff.
Madam Chair, I'd ask Stephen to answer that.
We'll refer to staff attorney.
Madam Chair, I believe the gross receipts tax is on licensed operators. Under current law, we would be creating a new permitting program for the cruise ship casinos. So as I read the definitions, they would not be subject to the adjusted gross receipts tax, and we need to amend the bill if we wanted to do that.
So, Madam Chair,
Senator Deeds.
we could amend the bill and make the casino or the cruise ship operators subject to the same sort of operators tax that we impose on the casinos. I mean, we could do that theoretically, couldn't we? Okay.
Madam Chair, yes, we could amend the bill to clarify that.
Well, we will need time to do that.
Yes.
And so then I'm going to get a motion.
Madam Chairman, in my understanding the communication right, that this is something that committee would like to consider, but it's some of the mechanics of it to make sure that revenue could be collected for the Commonwealth that's a concern. And if this was carried over for the year and either the committee or the Gaming Commission was able to determine those mechanics, it might be looked upon more favorably in the future. If that's the direction, then I'll make the motion to carry over so we can.
We have a motion and a second on the floor, but I see our former colleague standing to your right shoulder. Is that your right shoulder? Yes, that's your right shoulder.
Madam Chairman,
Senator Wagner, we entertain you for a moment.
Madam Chairman, I've been on that side long enough to know and read tea leaves, so I got it. But I will say this, Madam Chairman, that we want to be very careful not to send a negative message to the cruise industry by our actions here today. We are sorting it, we got legitimate problems to sort through and things like that. We don't need to be sending a negative message. So I would hope that if we refer this to the Gaming Commission, I guess would be the logical place, since that will capture them all, that we also refer to this is a mechanical problem. We have questions of taxing versus fees, this, that, the other, and we wholeheartely support the cruise industry.
Madam Chair, I would
Senator Deeds.
I would say to Senator Wagner, that's exactly the issue. We've got to make sure, we've got gambling all. You heard the Northern Virginia bill earlier. We've got these casinos open. We might have one in Petersburg before long. We've got skill games. We've got the lottery. We've got horse racing. We've got historic track racing. We've got to make sure it all meshes correctly, and you're not being unfair to anybody.
Mr. Chairman, I understand there's too many things from two different directions now, and even though it's a long session, it's a relatively short session. But I think how we refer that to it is going to have a big signal to the cruise industry, and I hope, Madam Chairman, we refer that letter to the commission, that we refer it in such a manner that the cruise industry understands it's not, we don't want them, we need to sort through our paperwork and we'll get back to
Senator
you
Wagner,
next
you were here when I started carrying casino bills 22 years ago, so you know what my love is for casinos. Yes, I started with Riverboat, as you recall.
Madam, I understand.
Okay.
And when your bill came over to the lottery, Madam Chairman, that's all we did for
Took care of my
a
bill.
couple of years.
We have a motion and a second that the bill will be referred to,
Be carried over and referred to the Gaming Commission.
referred over and carried over and referred to the Gaming Commission. Does that go with a letter?
We can send a letter.
With a letter?
Yeah, we'll work with that.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
But we didn't vote on the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you.
She has a tax bill.
Senator Craig, you have a tax bill, so you're in the next block. So why don't I just let you go on and present that now? And then I want to line up the next. Yes, let's start with Senate Bill 661. Start with that one first. Thank you, Senator Wagner.
61, okay, yeah.
Good to see you. You owe me lunch.
Okay.
Madam Chair, Senate Bill
there's an amendment.
61 establishes an income tax subtraction on firefighter retirement benefits of $20,000 in tax year 24, $30,000 in tax year 25, and $40,000 in every tax year beyond tax year 26. And Madam Chair, Stephen has told me there's a substitute.
Could I get a motion on the substitute?
I move the substitute.
It's been moved and properly seconded that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We have not seen the substitute, so we're going to need a staff attorney to explain this to us.
Madam Chair, the substitute includes some technical amendments from Department of Taxation and also expands the subtraction to emergency medical services providers as defined in the substitute.
Senator Deeds.
Does the substitute change the revenue impact that we were provided $8.1 million negative for the next 2 years?
Madam Chair, yes, the introduced bill was specific to firefighters. It now is expanded to emergency medical services providers. So the revenue impact would be greater, but we don't have those numbers at the moment.
We don't.
Senator Deeds.
Madam Chair, we don't have anybody to provide us an estimate of those numbers. Is this a significant expansion or not?
Madam Chair, Senator Deeds, I don't have those numbers, and looking at my tax friends, they do not have them at the moment.
Well, Madam Chair, then I've got a motion. I move that we carry the bill over and refer it to the Joint Tax Policy Subcommittee.
You heard the motion?
Second.
Heard a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Senator Craig, you have another bill, but it's in the second block, in the next block, but I think we're going to go in and carry that one anyway.
Madam Chair, I asked for that
Yeah,
to
Senate
go
Bill
by for the year.
126.
To go by for the year.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I apologize. Yes, thank you. That would be very helpful.
Thank you.
Okay. At the request of the patron, the bill will be carried over without objection.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. All in favor?
All in, aye.
Aye. Thank you. We're going to go back to the individual income tax block, and I think we have Senator Carol Ford. Senator Carol Ford, could you please come forward?
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 651 relates to military benefits income tax subtraction related to the age requirement. It eliminates the age requirement to claim the individual income tax subtraction for those military benefits beginning in tax year 2023. Currently, only taxpayers 55 years of age or older may claim the subtraction prior to tax year 2024, and that was adopted in the budget adopted in September by the General Assembly.
Questions of the committee? Senator Carol Foy, would you like to add to that presentation?
No, Madam Chair. I think the staff did an amazing job at summarizing what this bill is and what it does.
They are an amazing committee.
They are incredible.
Incredible.
You are blessed.
Yes, they are. Senator Deeds.
Madam Chair, I'd just like to ask staff, since tax season's already underway, this will affect the current tax year if we add the emergency calls, or it already has an emergency calls. It'll affect the current tax year. The $21.8 million negative revenue is.
So, Madam Chair, Senator Deeds, so this would be applicable for taxable year 2023 for when people file by April, basically. So this is giving the benefit of what would be happening next year for that year, taxable year 2023 that people are filing for right now or soon.
With that information, we need.
And Madam Chair, with an emergency calls, how many votes does the bill require?
2/3.
4/5.
4/5.
4/5 in the committee as well as on the
Yes.
floor? Not in committee.
Motion.
Madam Chair, I wouldn't have a motion that would be friendly, so I'm going to hold my motion.
Senator Carol Foy, I'm sorry, but your bill fails to get a motion.
Madam Chairman,
Senator McDougal.
you've heard this from me before. I just feel strongly that we ought to make motions on these things. So I'd make the motion to gently PBI it. I definitely understand. I know we've tried to get to this, but it makes it difficult in a budget year when we've partly through the tax season, and how do we figure out the revenue? So, but I'm sympathetic to what she's trying to do. It's a gentle PBI motion.
I heard a gentle PBI, but I don't hear a gentle second. I hear a gentle PBI and second that the bill be passed by indefinitely.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank
members
you,
of the
Senator
committee.
Carol Foy. I need to carry the motion. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Gently.
Gently? Aye. Then lower your voices. Aye. Okay, I have Senate Bill 662. Staff is going to make a presentation, but could somebody, is Senator Peak out there?
See him. Let's skip that one.
We'll skip, come back. Then we have Senator Reeves. You're spending the afternoon here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then we have Senate Bill 10. We want staff to give us a presentation.
Yes. Madam Chair, Senate Bill 10 also relates to the income tax subtraction for military retirement benefit. It expands the benefit subtraction to include service in the Commissioned Corps of the NOAA or the United States Public Health Service.
Senator Reeves.
Madam Chair, when we passed this bill, if I could do just a quick explanation, there was somebody that drove all the way from Suffolk to be here. Kind of give him a preparatory of what would probably happen, but he came all the way. I thought you might want to take 2 minutes. I know you didn't want to, but he came all this way. We left off two important military organizations that I didn't even know existed till I went to NCSL as chairman of the military task force for the country to find out that the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, those are all commissioned military officers, as well as the United States Public Health Service. So they're retired military that I didn't even know existed. So that's my fault. But if you could hear from the gentleman that drove all the way up, I think I would appreciate
We are
that.
not an unfriendly committee, so I'm going to start the timer, and he can have his 2 minutes that you requested.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, Senators. My name is Steve Barnum. I'm a captain, retired NOAA Corps. I spent 30 years in the service, retired. I'm a U.S. veteran with all benefits. But I'm here to support SB 10. I think it was a clerical error. I like to look at it as how it was written, because often people use the term military and words matter. In this case, military includes the 5 services. Uniformed services includes public health service, which includes the Surgeon General, and NOAA Corps. And NOAA Corps provides services such as the hurricane hunters that we all hear about during hurricanes, to track the hurricanes, the response to hurricanes for closing the ports when we survey the ports to open, to the work we do with the Navy and Coast Guard to survey for mine countermeasures. I've personally done a lot of that work. I've personally surveyed the Port of Norfolk many times to preserve safe commerce. So I'm here to support that for the change of the term military to uniformed services. And the impact is there are about 55 NOAA Corps officers retired in Virginia, and about 250 public health service employees or retired officers. So the impact, in comparison of those 300 people to the 100,000 military retirees, is very insignificant, but it's a fairness and equity thing, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming all the way. Madam Chair, staff just handed me an amendment, and I think if it's okay, I can have staff explain it. I don't know if it fixes the whole, but.
Okay, we'll have staff attorney will describe this technical amendment.
Madam Chair, these are more technical amendments from the Department of Taxation. It specifies that the subtraction is specific to retirement income from a pension plan, and also specifies that the subtraction will be applicable to or the changes in the bill will be applicable to taxable year 2024 and not in due course.
It has been moved and seconded that the technical amendments be agreed to. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Madam Chair.
Senator
I
Deeds.
would ask staff if those technical amendments affect in any way the impact statement for this bill.
Madam Chair, Senator Deeds, it does not affect the fiscal impact or revenue impact, sorry.
Madam Chair, I think that this bill is about fairness, but I'm worried about anything that negatively affects the revenue stream, given the budgetary challenges we have. And I would propose carrying this, I would make a motion that we carry the bill over and refer it to the Joint Tax Policy Subcommittee.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be carried over and referred to the Joint Tax Policy Subcommittee. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Senator Reed.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome.
Senator Deeds.
You're welcome. Did Senator Peake return?
We might take this bill up anyway.
Somebody try to find Senator Peake while we entertain Senator. He's on public ed, sir. Okay, let's move to Senator Suderline.
He's not here. Let's get him Marston.
Okay. Senator Marston, you want to join us again? Did you say no?
No.
It's okay.
Madam Chair, I tried to give you some money last time. Now I'm asking for some, a lot. But
then you might get the same result.
You know, it is
worst result.
You know, you can get whacked on both sides of the ledger here. That's
okay.
That's okay. I got Senate Bill.
I think we want to hear from staff first.
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 451 relates to the corporate income tax. It would begin in fiscal year 25, directing 5% of corporate income tax to the State Park Conservation Resource Fund to be used for free entry to state parks or the conservation, development, maintenance, and operation of state parks.
Madam Chair, if I might briefly.
Senator Marston.
I was approached by a group who cared deeply and passionately about our parks and the years of neglect that they've had, not just with maintenance, although there has been some efforts made to repair that, but the lack of funding and operations. A study was done that showed they were $111 million short. And so all this bill did was redirect 5% of the corporate tax to come up with that amount of money. These folks have worked the halls of this General Assembly in a passionate fashion. And I'm hoping we can keep something alive here to make a determination that we can do something positive for the parks. To move them forward. We keep adding parks. I don't think we ever quite put the amount of money in to operate them. And this is, as much as anything, a very strong message, Bill, that every issue gets its day. Every issue has its time. And I think it's time we dealt with the parks. in a meaningful, comprehensive way. They're so valuable to this Commonwealth and to the people of this Commonwealth. And Madam Chair, that's what the bill does. I would love to keep it alive and make some budgetary decisions as to what Madam Chair and the rest of the committee feels is appropriate. But we need to pay some serious attention to our park system in the Commonwealth. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Morrison, I'm sure no one here disagrees with you, but you know, we do have some budgetary constraints.
As a member of this committee, I am well aware.
Okay. Any comments from members of the committee?
Oh,
Was there-
excuse me, this is a substitute, if we could.
Okay, can we hear the substitute from staff attorney?
Madam Chair, the substitute aligns the distribution of the corporate income tax revenues with the corporate income tax return schedule as introduced. There were some components that were specific to the monthly calendar of sales and use tax revenues, so it's just fixing that.
May I get a motion to adopt? Did you move the substitute? It has been moved and probably second that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Well, that was encouraging. Thank you, Madam Chair.
We agreed to the substitute. We operate on motion?
Madam Chair, I don't have any question that we have to put a bunch of money in state parks and maybe this much money. I propose we carry the bill over for the year, and we can take this up in our budget considerations. We can take up whether we can find $100 million.
Well, Senator Deeds, could you add to that you were referred to the Joint Tax Policy Subcommittee?
I will do that, yes. I'll carry it over and refer to the Joint Tax Policy Subcommittee.
All in favor of that motion? Aye. Aye. Thank you, Senator Morrison.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Are you done for the day?
I think I am.
Okay, have a good evening.
All right.
Thank you. Did we find Senator Peake or Suderline? Suderline, right on time.
Madam Chairman.
Senator, join us. Senator Suderline, we want to hear from staff first.
Senator Peake's in a subcommittee. He's waiting for Senator Craig to get there for him.
We'll wait for him. Senator Suderline,
Thank you, ma'am.
we're going to hear from staff first. On your bill, Senate Bill 108.
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 108 removes the sunset date for the current standard deduction amount, which is currently set to expire for taxable years after tax year 2025.
Yes, ma'am.
Senator Suderline, would you like to add anything to that?
Yes, ma'am. That was exactly correct. And so what would happen is this current standard deduction for couples would drop from $17,000 down back to $6,000, and for individuals from $8,500 down to $3,000. And we have about 85% of all taxpayers use the standard deduction. And if we allow the sunset to sunset and we don't actually extend it, there's going to be a substantial tax increase on about 85% of filers in the Commonwealth.
Well, I think we've heard as much information as we need on Senate Bill 108, so I need to find out, staff have comments or motion?
Well, the other, Madam Chair, the other side of it is we're looking at negative impact of this legislation to the tune of $800 million or more over the next 3 budget years.
Let's let staff respond to that. You did say 800 million, right?
$800 million.
Okay, staff.
Madam Chair, Senator Deeds, that is the revenue impact, but it is assumed already in the official revenue forecast as submitted by the governor.
As submitted by the governor in his budget. So we could pair this up with Marston and reduce the impact, right?
Madam Chair, can I?
Let's hear from staff.
Yes, ma'am.
This is tax gov job. I titled that, right? Madam Chair, what I would say is the reason that date is in for the standard deduction, this predates the tax relief that's happened over the last few years, is that at the federal level, when they passed the Tax Cut Job Act, there was a significant number of changes that increased revenue to Virginia. And until you know what the federal government is going to do, I think the reason that date is there is for you to reevaluate that to see if they make any changes or not, and whether or not we would lose that revenue if they did not extend the Tax Cut Job Act.
With that clarification, Senator Deeds, I see your light on.
I'd move to carry the bill over and wait for federal action as to whether or not they're going to extend the federal tax credit jobs act.
It's been moved in second that Senate Bill 108 be carried over while we wait for the federal tax action. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye.
1 no.
1 no. Record your no. Thank you, Senator Zuline.
Thank you, Madam President.
While we wait for Senator Peake, we will move to the next tax bills, and that will be Senate Bill 632, Senator Stewart, and we'd like to hear from staff, and then from you, Senator Stewart.
I think, Madam Chair, 632 relates to taxation. It decreases the individual income tax beginning in tax year 2025. It increases the state sales and use tax by 90 basis points beginning January 1st, 2025. It imposes sales and use tax on digital personal property, streaming services, and certain digital taxable services beginning January 1st, 2025. It increases the non-refundable earned income tax credit that can be claimed. It also increases the aggregate cap of the education improvement scholarship tax credits. The introduced budget assumes the full revenue impact as it's the governor's taxation plan in the budget.
Senator Stewart?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. Madam Chair, so what this bill does, as staff has explained, it reduces those individual or gives a tax cut to those individual tax brackets, starting at about a 13% cut for the lowest income bracket and ending up at about an 11% cut for the highest income bracket, which I think is important. And really this is, as you all know, is an important piece of legislation for the governor and his budget in order to give our hardworking Virginia families a tax cut, which is ultimately what it does. Despite the fact that we increase the sales tax sum, the overall net effect of this is a tax cut for Virginia families, and I don't need to tell you all the significant challenges that they've faced in recent past, particularly due to inflation, and it's making it pretty difficult for some folks. As a practical aspect, I think the data that we've seen, and certainly in being on the Finance Committee this year, the data that I've seen makes a very strong case that we need to start making this shift because our income tax is declining. It's going to continue to decline over time based upon the projections that we have, and we are moving more to a consumption economy. The consumption tax is fair, Madam Chair. Nobody cheats. Everybody has to carry their own burden. I won't say nobody cheats, but it's much harder to cheat than it is income tax. And I just have never understood, I've always been a proponent of this, never understood why we tax productivity, human productivity. And I go back to when I first got my very first paycheck with all the deductions. And I looked at it and I was like, gosh, what's the point? If they're going to take half of my check from me, why am I working so hard? And it was interesting. My son just got out of college recently and he got his first real paycheck. And he came home and he said, Dad, they took half of my paycheck in deductions. And I said, welcome to the working world, son. That's what we do. It's a disincentive for people to go out and work hard, make money, and do more and achieve more and produce more. The other really important aspect of this, Madam Chair, that I think people overlook, based upon the data that we have now, about 10% of our sales tax is paid by out-of-state folks who are traveling through and buying goods in Virginia, and that's a big win for Virginians. So there are a lot of wonderful reasons that we should pass this bill
Not sure I have the votes for it because Senator Deed's given me the eye earlier. It's all right. But Madam Chair, we have to start thinking about this. We've got to find a way to broaden our tax base and be less reliant on income tax, and we all know that. We've seen that data. We've seen the numbers. I do believe that the governor is on top of an issue that we have got to face, and we've got to face it sooner or later, so we might as well face it now, because the issue is real. Our income tax is declining, and we need to start looking towards the consumption tax. Madam Chair, that is all I will say, but if Secretary Cummings could just have a couple words, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Senator, I was going to ask if there was someone in the audience who would like to speak to this, and I saw Senator Cummings sitting behind you. I was going to call on him anyway. So, did I call him Senator? Secretary. You know, my staff told me not to drink that cup of coffee. Honest to God, I will not do it tomorrow. No, seriously. I told you, didn't I? Secretary Cummings.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee. I appreciate having the time to speak with you, and thank you, Patron Stewart, for your support of this. So the governor and the patron did put together a historic proposal here to transform the Virginia tax system, shifting the mix of revenues, as was just described, and also bringing down individual income tax rates. This has not happened in the over 100 years in Virginia. So last 2 years of our administration, some great things have happened by working together. I think we all know that we've had $5 billion in tax relief, nearly doubling the standard deduction, taking care of the working families, eliminating state sales tax on groceries and personal hygiene products, removing a very regressive tax, and also eliminating tax on military benefits up to $40,000 to keep our veterans in Virginia. And of course, 2 rounds of tax rebates equaling about $1,000 for every family. That being said, a little bit different angle on this is obviously concern on the ongoing tax burden to Virginians. And we think we have the opportunity to prudently start to adjust the structure to remain competitive with our surrounding states. Over the last 10 years, you've heard from us before, we've had a tremendous loss of people migrating from Virginia, being much greater than those who are coming in. 200,000 Virginians moving to the South. That group has taken with them $12 billion in annual taxable adjusted income. 3 out of 4 of those people leaving, or those families leaving Virginia, earned over $100,000 a year. If we don't change the course, this is a 10-year trend every year, there is a decline in real impact on the pocketbook of Virginia. The truth is that these families, and this is happening, as you know, all over the country, are seeing better opportunities, job growth, and lower cost of living in other states. Over the last 10 years, this is combined total. Texas has gained 2.5 million jobs, Florida 2.1 million, Georgia 800,000, North Carolina 730,000, and over that same 10-year period, Virginia has added 480,000. We believe that we need to change our course here to increase the opportunity for Virginians. We are short on workforce. We're known for the quality of the people that are coming out of our schools. We are losing our students, and they're losing employees and employers and the jobs they bring. This bill outlines a comprehensive plan to provide overall tax relief to Virginians by reducing the rate by 12%. In conjunction with that reduction, we are going to be able to increase the taxing of digital goods as our economy has transformed. We believe that benefits everybody, the way this is structured. And then modestly increasing the overall sales tax rate by 0.9% to diversify our sources of revenues, which we are distinctively over-reliant, as was mentioned, on income tax, which is not as reliable a source of income going forward. So we look forward to working with all of you, looking at comprehensive tax reform, delivering tax relief to Virginians, and for now and beyond. And we really appreciate having the chance to work with you and giving me a chance to add my thoughts. Thank you.
Any member of the committee have questions of Secretary Cummings? Senator McDougal?
Not questions.
You have a statement?
Yes.
Senator McDougal, right ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, I think as we go through talk about the budget and talk about tax policy, this is an important conversation. It's an important one that we look at. When I look at the numbers, in 2010, almost 22% of our revenues were generated from sales tax. And then in 22, that had dropped below 16%. So there certainly has been a substantial change in the market and how we obtain goods. It used to be that you would go down to your local store, to your record store or grocery store, and purchase things, and now everything's done technologically. And we have not necessarily changed our code to keep up with those. So I do think that the effort Senator Stewart and Secretary just described is one that is important. And it is important for us to talk about individual income tax rates and making sure that Virginians and other people that are looking at Virginia as an option continue to view us as a place that is welcoming and one where they would want to locate their business or have their career. So I am complimentary of the efforts that both the Secretary and Senator Stewart took in order to take a look at this, but it is a big project. And it is one that is very difficult in a short period of time to try to come to a solution on, because there are a lot of challenges, and some of things as we look at it, maybe I would have done just a scotch differently. But the big issues that Senator Stewart and Secretary just talked about are ones that we really need to address because they are important for the direction of the Commonwealth.
Thank you. Senator Deeds has comments, and I also want to find out if there's anyone else in the audience who would like to speak to the bill. But Senator
Well,
Deeds.
Madam Chair, just following up with what Senator McDougal said, modernization of our tax code is long overdue, and it's got to continue through this process. But the bottom line for this proposal is it takes over $900 million out of the revenue stream over the next 2 years. We got a budget agreement where a lot of money that was ongoing was bumped into one-time spending, and is structurally imbalanced. We've got a lot of work to do to get a budget done. I would move that we carry this bill over and refer it to the Joint Tax Policy Subcommittee.
I will. Before I take a second to that, I see someone else who would like to speak to the bill. You speaking in favor or in opposition to the bill? Please come forward. You have time on the clock.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, Rodrigo Soto with the Commonwealth Institute for Fiscal Analysis. We oppose this proposed tax package, which would drain valuable state resources and give big tax cuts to the wealthiest in Virginia. Based on modeling from the Institute for Taxation and Economic Policy, which was sent in a memo to all lawmakers at the beginning of the year, this proposal would double down on Virginia's upside-down tax code. Under major provisions of this proposal, lowering income tax rates, increasing the sales tax rate, and increasing the non-refundable EITC option, the top 1% of incomes in Virginia, those making over $763,000 a year, would see an average tax cut of $9,640, while the bottom 20% of incomes, those making below $30,000 a year, would see an average tax increase of $44. We think there are better policy options that the committee can consider to ensure that the wealthy pay their fair share of taxes to raise the revenues we need to invest in important and underfunded priorities like public education, affordable housing, and more. Our friends at the Virginia Education Association, New Virginia Majority, and Freedom Virginia wish they could be here to speak in opposition, but ask that I also share that they also oppose the bill.
Thank you. I see another speaker. Yes.
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, Emily Moore with Voices for Virginia's Children. We also oppose this tax package. Current proposals to lower Virginia's income tax bracket and increase the sales tax do very little for families with low and middle incomes and instead largely benefit the wealthy. Few tax policies are conditional upon the needs, providing for the needs of young people and ensuring that families are distributed funds based on the number of children in their home. And so we know there are smarter, less costly tax proposals that can bring meaningful relief to families, such as strengthening the refundable portion of the earned income tax credit and creating a state-level child tax credit. So we hope that as you consider these tax proposals, you continue to consider the needs of Virginia's families. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Stewart, we've heard from staff, and we heard you and Secretary Cummings, and Senator Dees, you were about to make a motion.
Motion I was going to make was that we will carry the bill over for the year and refer it to the joint subcommittee on tax policy.
And I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be carried over and referred to the Joint Tax Policy Subcommittee. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee.
You're very welcome. Senator Stewart and Secretary Cummings. Now, Senator Peake is here. I want to wave goodbye to my daughter. She told me not to drink coffee. See you.
I hope that puts you in a good mood.
Senator Peake, we want to hear from staff first, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 662 is an income tax subtraction related to state police retirement benefits. It establishes a tax subtraction of up to $10,000 of Virginia State Police retirement benefits for officers who are 55 years or older, effective in tax year 2024. I believe Stephen has indicated there's a substitute.
Could we hear are those technical, is that a substitute? Substitute, we'd like to hear from staff attorney.
Madam Chair, federal law requires that if we give a state employee a state level tax benefit, then the same must be extended to or cannot be denied to similarly situated federal employees. So this substitute will make it explicit that those federal employees that are similarly situated to Virginia State Police would also get the benefit of the subtraction.
I'd like to hear from.
We can adopt the substitute first.
Well, I'd like to adopt the substitute first. There's a motion for the substitute and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. So now, Senator McDougal, your aye, no.
No, I would.
I think Tyler does.
Okay, Tyler?
Yes, Madam Chair, the substitute that you just adopted expands the income tax subtraction to include federal employees, which is not reflected in the revenue impact in your packets. And I'm looking at tax in the audience, and they do not have an estimate at this time on that impact.
Senator Deeds.
Madam Chair, Tyler, and I mean, it would be more than the tax impact we've got. Then I'd move to carry the bill over and refer it to the Joint Tax Policy Subcommittee.
There's a motion
Second.
and a second that the bill be carried over and referred to the Tax Commission. That's the Joint Tax Policy Subcommittee. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Madam Chair, I was really looking forward to talking tax policy with you, but if you're going to carry it over, we'll wait till next year. Thank you.
We'll wait.
No,
We'll hear those comments next
The
year.
interim.
In the interim.
Yeah,
Yes.
The Joint Tax Policy
It's going to
Subcommittee.
start, the whole time. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I think we can go back to the tax. Okay, we got one more bill in the state tax bill bracket before we go to the local tax bill. So that would be Senate Bill 103, Senator Sturtevant, and we'd like to hear from staff first.
Yes, Madam Chair, Senate Bill 103 is related to the motor vehicle sales and use tax. It exempts certain transfers from that sales and use tax. Essentially, the bill is adding transfers from one LLC to another LLC as long as you're not avoiding the motor vehicle sales and use tax.
Senator Sturtevant would like to add to that?
That's the bill, Madam Chair. It's a request of the Virginia Bar Association. That's where it comes from. And we just checked a few minutes ago. We're not aware of any fiscal impact, at least on our end.
Okay, committee, you've heard the bill. Senator Locke?
Senator Sturtevant, do you know if this has any negative impact on DMV?
Not that I have been informed, Madam Chair, Senator Locke.
I mean, particularly to the transportation, Commonwealth Transportation Fund?
Not that we have been informed of. If I may ask the lobbyist for VBA.
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, Eric Link for the Virginia Bar Association, not that we are aware of.
We want to turn to staff now for clarification.
Madam Chair, to Senator Locke's question, I think it's an indeterminate. I think we're unclear how many times these transfers occur, which I believe DMV and tax has confirmed to staff.
This is indeterminate.
And Madam Chair, I think that it's indeterminate because it's
this would be allowing those transfers, LLCs to LLCs. Right now, it's just partnerships to LLCs, but there's not a level playing field for LLCs to LLCs.
You've heard the bill. Committee, we operate on motion. Not getting a motion? I know Senator McDougal does not like for us to let a bill go out of here without a motion, so he's about to make one, I believe.
I am about to make one. I don't know if I'm about to get a second, but I'm about to make a motion that we report this. I do think this is trying to fix a issue that occurs logistically when you're titling vehicles and switching it from one entity to another, but it's not when it's a arm's length transaction, it's an internal transaction. So move that it be reported.
I didn't hear a second, so is there a substitute motion? I didn't get a second to the motion, so I need a substitute motion.
Substitute motion would be to pass by indefinitely.
I'll second it, even though I'm going to vote against it.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be passed by indefinitely. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Record your one no.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Senator Sturtevant. Now, if I'm not mistaken, give me just a second here. I think we're in the local tax bills section now. And Senator Eric, you're back, and guess what? Your bill is right at the top of the list. That was perfect timing.
Madam Chair, Senate Bill 483 relates to tangible personal property exemption for indoor agriculture equipment and machinery. It provides that a locality may exempt those from personal property taxation.
Yes. This is Senate Bill 483, right?
483.
Yeah. Okay, Madam Chair, absolutely. Ultimately, we have a major indoor agricultural project that is occurring in Chesterfield County that is ultimately projected at around $300 million. And so we want to make sure that we are supporting, and this is a major way we can do that, specifically to the farming equipment that they're utilizing. And so we're hopeful that we can move this forward and help this amazing economic development project continue to move forward positively.
Staff, I'm sorry, any comments from the committee?
Well, Madam Chair, I just wonder if you're setting a precedent. I mean, this is one situation in one county. Are you setting a precedent that's going to apply to a situation that might be in another county that might want the revenue?
Well, this is specifically my understanding around a very structured type of facility, an indoor agricultural farming property. And so I'm not aware of any other that exists right now in this way. And so I don't believe that it's setting a precedent, but certainly I also would say that if a major economic development grower of this nature was to show up somewhere, that they should be treated the same.
There's, you can have, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this bill?
Are they still here? Oh, maybe not. No, okay.
You for the bill?
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, Nicole Brenner with Reed Smith on behalf of Plenty Unlimited, speaking in support to Senator Aird's bill. The General Assembly already classifies farm machinery. It's an existing category of property that you allow localities to exempt or adopt a reduced tax rate. In our conversations with the commissioners of the Revenue and the Tax Department, we understood that clarity on this might be welcome for a new burgeoning industry. In our opinion, this category of equipment should already be exempt. It is farm machinery, it is producing agricultural products. There is not a distinct difference except what the equipment looks like. Again, it is a local option, and we shared it with the commissioners of the Revenue, the State Tax Department in advance of session. The Chesterfield Commissioner of the Revenue is in support of the legislation as well. Happy to answer any questions. This is so that it can be applied uniformly across the state.
Madam
Thank
Chair,
you. Senator Deeds?
are there other indoor closed controlled environment commercial agricultural facilities in Virginia?
Yes, sir. And the General Assembly passed a sales tax exemption for these facilities last year to create parity with traditional agriculture. We're looking for the same parity here. There are other indoor facilities. There are indoor greenhouses. I know of one in Goochland called Greenswell. We buy their greens in our house. There are other facilities. Some of them are in urban areas. Plenty's facility uses significantly less water, about 10% of field agriculture, so it's a very sustainable option, so you're able to grow food in places that you otherwise would not be able to. And so we're creating food surety and supply. The first farm in Plenty's campus in Chesterfield will supply strawberries to the entire eastern seaboard. That's one of the reasons they chose Virginia. It's a 1 to 2 days drive. I know there's a facility in Culpeper, one in Arlington, and in the House side, a company called Babylon Microfarms is building a farm in Scotts Addition, and they spoke in support. But again, the tax exemption is local option.
Madam Chairman.
Anyone else in the audience would like to speak to the bill? Senator McDougal?
Madam Chairman, my mom has a relatively decent-sized nursery operation, and she has a lot of greenhouses now, and she play football in a couple of them. Would this type of exemption apply to them? They're not producing food, but they're, well, I guess some of the things she does are edible, but for the main part, it seems to meet the definition of controlled environment, commercial agricultural facility.
Senator McDougal, Madam Chair, Senator McDougal, again, that is sometimes up to the locality. There are certain localities that have a requirement for becoming a farm in order to qualify for farm exemptions, such that if I had a tractor at my home, that is probably not farm equipment, but in some localities, you have to become a farm in order to receive the farm equipment exemption. And again, it is contemplating commercial, and we're producing these products for market.
Thank you for that clarification. We operate on motion. If there's no one else want to speak.
Madam Chairman.
Senator McDougal.
I guess the more I'm hearing, clearly there is a problem. I'm just not understanding what it is, because when I look at what's described, if it's a facility that is growing agricultural products for market, I don't know why that would not be considered a farm under the other definition. So is anybody from tax here maybe that could shed some light? Or if this was a commissioner issue, is there a commissioner here that could tell us what they don't understand?
Thank you.
Chair Lucas, Anna Duncan for the Tax Department. This bill creates some clarity in the law for an industry that is fairly new. It's a combination of an industrial and an agricultural business, and so there could be some confusion under the law. Additionally, as we spoke to earlier, there has been a sales tax exemption added for this particular industry, and it really levels the playing field for the indoor agriculture and the traditional greenhouses. So it just makes it consistent.
Does that answer your question, Senator McDougal?
Why is the facility that Senator Ayer described not considered agriculture?
Well, if you saw, Madam Chair, if you saw that facility, you would not think that it is a farming operation. It is in an industrial area. It looks like a clean space industrial operation. So it does not appear from the outside to be a farming operation.
So, Madam Chairman, so did I hear you just have to go inside and then it looks like a farming operation, and from the outside it doesn't?
In some ways, yes. They are growing plants, but they use robotics and very advanced technology.
So, Madam Chair, members of the committee, I think what I hear is that this is really to ensure there is no lack of confusion around the operation that exists in Chesterfield. Again, some of what you've already heard makes it very clear that we want to make sure that they can qualify as they actually should, and naturally what we already cover. And so I'm just hoping that this language clarifies that they do qualify if, given the local option that exists, and they can move forward with the exemption as intended.
Madam Chairman?
Senator McDougal.
So, Madam Chairman, I have some thoughts that there was some original concern about this, but as I'm hearing it, it sounds, I'm not sure why they are judging the book by its cover and not going in and seeing that it is an agricultural facility. Would the chairman mind if we made a motion to move this forward, and then if there's some new information that staff gets, we could take that up before committee? I'm okay.
Well, I'm hearing a motion from both sides of me to send it to the full committee without a recommendation.
Madam
Is
Chair.
that what I'm hearing?
May I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
Is there any, what exactly is the committee looking for to give comfort in that we are really just trying to clarify the law so that this facility does not get caught in uncertainty?
Senator Deeds and then Senator McDougal.
What I heard from tax, maybe I needed to hear a few days ago, and I'm trying to digest it right now, because I want to encourage this industry, and I don't want to treat them differently than I treat other farms, but every other bill that's implicated tax policy here, Democratic or Republican, we've carried over. And I wasn't out, my intent was not, and I can't speak for the chair, but my intent certainly was not to treat bills differently depending on patrons. And I thought this bill ought to be carried over like the other tax policy bills, but I might be wrong, and I want to think about it.
Certainly. And Madam Chair,
Senator Eric.
if I might provide photos to you all to really demonstrate how this is a farm and a farming facility, and the work that they're doing really is to ensure that the Commissioner of Revenue in this community can make a clear declaration, I'd be happy to do that if that's helpful.
Senator McDougal.
Madam Chairman, I typically rely on my Commissioner of Revenue in these situations, so I'd really like to hear from them
Certainly.
that it's an issue.
The Commissioner of Revenue will be here for full committee.
Well, I need to get a motion to carry it over to some time specific in order to do that. You're going to send it a record? Okay.
Move that be reported to the committee without a recommendation.
Okay.
And I'll second that motion.
It's been a motion and a second that the bill be referred to the committee without a recommendation. Is that good?
I thank the committee.
Okay, you're very welcome. I think now we're in the other section that says other bills, and so we're going to go with Senator Stanley, and then we'll have Senator McDougal because you're here on the committee. So I want to hear from staff on Senate Bill 62.
Yes, Madam Chair, Senate Bill 62 relates to New College Institute and the duties. It requires New College Institute to design and implement any workforce programs necessary to support the initiatives of the governor, the Office of the Governor, including adult education and workforce training programs.
Senator Stanley.
Madam Chair, I've sat here long enough. I think I know what this committee is doing.
Oh, you think you saw a pattern?
And I see a pattern. I see a pattern, ma'am. Madam Chair, this is basically so we can track our deliverables, especially in being able to, in quick start fashion, to be able to bring workforce training programs like we're doing right now that benefit what our government, our governor, the Department of Labor are doing to try to bring industry into Southside Virginia, where we have some of the highest unemployment rates, some of the lowest per capita income, and some of the highest poverty rates for our children. I've talked to you, Madam Chair, and others in this committee about what New College is doing. We have the Broadband Academy now in full swing. We have the WIN GWO program, which is actually the only kind like it on the East Coast. Wind safety and sea safety training, and also repair, credentialed type of programs that are going to help our solar program, certainly what Dominion's doing offshore on the coast of Virginia, and also in broadband and trying to deliver and deploy broadband and fiber optic cable in our area, but not only just the delivery, but also the maintenance. Those jobs, and they can be trained so quickly and easily, are paying $55, $65 to start. And so that's helping our young men and women that we're targeting in our high schools through the Wendell Scott Foundation to be able to break the cycle of poverty and get a job and get a credential that's portable and can be employed immediately upon their finishing of their training. And this just tracks that. So.
Thank you, Senator Stanley. As you know what my feelings are on those issues.
Yes, ma'am.
But if you see a pattern here, it's that we're trying to treat all of the patrons' bills, tax bills, equally. Yes, and so I just want you to know that we're just trying to be as fair as we know how to be, okay?
Yes, Madam Chair, I just didn't see anything taxing.
No,
in this.
Okay.
and I don't see anything tax-related, Madam Chair, but I see that the governor took the second year of funding out the NCI. I know you have a budget amendment in, the patron has a budget amendment in to fix that, and I support the senator. I support the senator on his goals. I want to see prosperity in Henry County and Martinsville, but I think until we resolve the whole budget thing, this bill probably ought to be carried over for the year. And that would be a motion.
And Senator Stanley, this is not in the tax section. It is in the other bills, but I've dealt with so many tax bills today. That's all I got rolling around in my head.
Madam Chair, I understand.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to carry the bill over. I'm looking at carrying over and taking a deep breath. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And now we have, the only bill left in the committee is one of the committee members' bills. Senator McDougal, we're gonna hear from staff on your bill as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Chair, Senator McDougal's bill, Senate Bill 399, relates to the 6-year financial plan. It requires the governor to submit a 6-year financial plan, which is really the 6-year spending plan every year instead of in the even year. And then it requires that the financial plan be structurally balanced between revenues and expenditures.
Senator McDougal.
Madam Chairman, committee might not remember, but some years ago, I carried a bill that would require the governor to introduce a budget that included the best case tax revenues and the worst case tax revenues, so we didn't get surprised when we were looking at budgets.
I think I recall that.
And so this was my effort, not focused at this governor, but governors going forward in the future, because even if this is in application, it really would only apply one time to this governor. This is really for out-year governors, to make sure that we're having as much information as we can when we're making our decisions. So this would, because it's applying to that odd year, it'll be the next governor in office that will actually have to implement this. And that's why we were just trying to make sure this body has as much information so when we're doing budgets, we don't get surprised in that process.
I think we all understand, but thank you for adding that clarity to it. And this is one of those bills where we are open for public comment. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak to Senate Bill 399, please come forward if you're speaking in favor or in opposition to the bill. I don't see anyone on their feet.
Madam Chairman, it's very exciting.
We operate on motion.
Madam Chairman, I'm gonna move to report it.
It has been moved and seconded that the bill be reported, that is Senate Bill 399. All in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye.
Thank you,
Well,
Madam. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
You're
members of
so
the
very
committee.
welcome. And unless I'm mistaken, I've looked at both sides of my docket, and I don't see any further bills in the committee. So with that, the committee will rise.